the Prime Minister there with Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. This has, as I said, become a sort of a template for the Prime Minister's roadshows, accompanied by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath there. Also, the Faizabad candidate of the BJP, though, as we were discussing earlier, the constituency is still called Faizabad, it's not Ayodhya. So the Prime Minister there with Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is going to be a 2-kilometer long roadshow. And earlier, of course, the Prime Minister was at the Ram temple offering his prayers, also, his Dandvat Pranam, as it so to speak, prostrating before the Ram Lala idol, and a lot of excitement on the ground, certainly. So, Amitabh, as you were saying, in that particular survey that you were citing as well, Ram Mandir does seem to be, one of the poll issues, certainly.
Yeah, of course, it is one of the poll issues, and as we discussed earlier, it seems that the focus had shifted away from Ram Mandir to some, you could say, corruption issues or some sort of a negative campaign from both sides. And the effort of the BJP is to bring back positivity and celebrations into the campaign. So whenever you have a positive campaign, what happens is that it adds people, correct? It adds people, and there could be a feeling of religious fervor as well as celebration fervor across the state, and this is the epicenter of the Ram Mandir movement, correct? I mean, many people would argue that BJP has already benefited from the Ram Mandir movement, but I would say that the only time BJP benefited from this was in 1991 when it formed the government in UP. Otherwise, there is still some upside left on this issue to reap electoral dividends, and that's what BJP sees. And BJP and the Prime Minister perhaps are going for a kill, and they see a weakened opposition in the form of India Bloc in UP without BSP, and they hope to win over the 10 seats which the BSP has had won in alliance with the Samajwadi Party, and go as close to the Mission 80 as possible from UP itself.
Right, and as many would say that now the focus is shifting on the seats that, as the BJP walas would call it, the Manohari seats or the safe seats of the BJP, the seats that go to polls in the next couple of phases. And as we were discussing earlier as well, the BJP trying to tap into its core voter base as well with these roadshows. My colleague Ankit Tyagi is here, who's of course been travelling to various parts of Uttar Pradesh, as Amitabh Tiwari was also saying, a new political reality with new alliances. So Ankit takes over from here.
Thanks, Vedant. And also what is important is the timing of this Ayodhya visit of the Prime Minister, just ahead of the voting on the third phase, which is going to take place on Tuesday. And as the campaign for the third phase ends, look where the Prime Minister starts. And already when there is, opposition attacking the BJP, saying that they are using religion is being used in the elections at this moment and in the campaigning. Both BJP and the opposition attacking each other, accusing each other of religious polarization. At that point of time, Prime Minister starting this campaign in Ayodhya with this massive roadshow that you see. It's a 2-kilometer roadshow, ladies and gentlemen, but it is going to take some time. You can see all around in Ayodhya. And, before that, Prime Minister going and offering prayers at the temple, the Ram temple there. This does, in fact, for the core BJP vote and what the messaging ahead, how it has shifted. We'll talk about the shift in the messaging with, Amitabh Tiwari and Aditi Phadnis. But before that, just to get a sense of what is the atmospherics at this moment in Ayodhya, where this roadshow is taking place, the kind of message the Prime Minister would want to, in fact, send across. Remember, the Kaizarganj Lok Sabha constituency, which is adjoining Ayodhya, the Faizabad, the Lok Sabha constituency. The BJP has just recently announced the candidature of the Brij Bhushan Charan Singh's son. Tanish Punjabi, my colleague, joins us from the ground. He is in Ayodhya. Tanish, most days we see that the Bharatiya Janata Party, they don't leave anything to chance when it comes to Prime Minister's roadshow. Everything is planned to the last detail. Just give our viewers a sense of what you are seeing around you. This is a stronghold of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and a messaging not only for Faizabad, for the adjoining constituencies, but also for the 9 seats in Uttar Pradesh and across the country, 94 of them, which are going to go to polls in the third phase.
Ankit, as you rightly pointed out that this comes, just on the day when the campaigning for the third phase ends. I would like to also, just go back a little bit and tell you that the Ram Navami also did coincide with the day when the campaigning for the first phase ended, the cooling period started. The Ram Navami also coincided with that day, and of course, we all know that Ram Mandir has been one of the biggest poll issues, poll promises, agendas of the Bharatiya Janata Party. But you talked about sense. I would like to show you people sitting here. You can see they're sitting here on the footpath here, waiting for the Prime Minister Roadshow to pass on. I'm right now at the Lata Mangeshkar Chowk, just 50 meters, 100 meters away from the iconic, beautiful Lata Mangeshkar Chowk that you see over there. And of course, there are these magnificent Surya Stamps that have been installed here. But of course, the atmosphere in Ayodhya has been ecstatic since the past few months. We all know. I would like to speak to some of the people here. आप लोग मैम कहाँ से आए हैं?
हरियाणा से आए हैं, रोहतक से।
आप लोग रोहतक से आए हैं?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
तो
आए तो राम जी का दर्शन करने आए थे, लेकिन हमें यहाँ पे आकर पता चला कि आज मोदी जी यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं, तो हम 3-4 बजे से लेके यहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं।
तो आप लोग फिर राम जी के दर्शन करने नहीं गए?
वो
अब जाएंगे मोदी जी?
कल एक बार कर लिए, एक बार आज।
खास
हाँ
दर्शन।
जी, हाँ जी, हाँ
आज
जी।
नहीं तो दोबारा जाते। तो हमने कहा पहले मोदी जी भी राम का रूप है, उनके भी दर्शन कर लें।
अच्छा, मोदी जी भी
राम का रूप है, उनको मोटिवेट करने के लिए हम यहाँ बैठे हैं।
आप लोग सब लोगों ने व्हाइट कलर की कैप लगा रखी है।
हमारी ये पूरी टीम वहाँ से
हम
आई है,
पूरी
रोहतक
टीम
से, हरियाणा से।
अच्छा, 67 लोग आप लोग।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, 67 लोग।
आप लोग मेरे को ये जानना है, आप लोग के लिए अभी 2024 के चुनाव हैं, आप लोग के लिए क्या मुद्दे हैं? क्या आप लोग के लिए मुद्दे हैं वोट करने से पहले? क्या राम मंदिर ही ये मुद्दा है, या जॉब, महंगाई ये सब?
महंगाई थोड़ी है।
महंगाई है, आप लोग मानते हैं? तो क्या आपको लगता है सरकार ने काम उतना किया है महंगाई के ऊपर?
काम तो कर रही है गवर्नमेंट, लेकिन लोगों के कुछ डिजायर भी ज्यादा है, तो उस तरह से जितनी अफोर्ड कर नहीं सकते तो महंगाई में बोल देते भाई महंगाई।
डिजायर होना गलत तो नहीं है ना?
बिल्कुल गलत नहीं है।
नहीं, जितनी महंगाई बढ़ रही है, अगर हम देखें पर कैपिटा इनकम भी तो लोगों की बढ़ ही रही है ना। मतलब जितनी पहले थी लोगों की इनकम, उतने इनकम के सोर्सेज जितने पहले थे उससे बहुत ज़्यादा अब हो चुके हैं। अब लोग कमा भी रहे हैं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है। अब ये महंगाई तो देखो, अगर हम प्रोपोर्शनेटली देखें तो ये महंगाई आज से 20-25 साल पहले की भी थी। मतलब जो हम प्याज के लिए रोते हैं या कुछ रोते हैं, मतलब हम लोगों में से बहुत लोगों की।
नहीं, पर 1100 रुपए का सिलेंडर तो नहीं था। खैर, हम लोग और क्या मुद्दे? सिलेंडर महंगा हो गया आपके हिसाब से?
नहीं, अब नहीं है, कम हुए रेट इलेक्शन में।
100 रुपए सब्सिडी हुई थी। खैर और क्या आप लोग के मुद्दे होंगे वोट करने से पहले, इसके अलावा?
ऑलरेडी मोदी जी ही इतना कुछ अच्छा कर रहे हैं कि हम अपने मुद्दे क्या बताएं। वो मेरे को लगता है अपने आप ही सब कुछ अच्छा कर देंगे आगे भी।
मोदी जी का नाम मैटर करता है ना?
का नाम मैटर करता है।
बिल्कुल
हाँ
बिल्कुल।
जी।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। सो ऑफ कोर्स these were the people. I can show you all around. I can show you all around. These people have come from Haryana, and a lot of people have gathered here. What we see, Ankit, is that tourists coming not just from parts of Hindi heartland, but there are tourists. I've met a lot of tourists coming from down south, from West Bengal as well. They've come from all parts of India. So of course, the message has definitely reached, and I spoke to a lot of people. It is the Yogi and Modi factor together that has, caught up their mind as well.
Absolutely. Tanish there speaking to some hardcore Narendra Modi fans there. In fact, not even shying away from equating Prime Minister to Lord Ram himself. But that's the kind of following that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has. And this, ladies and gentlemen, most of them, and Amitabh Tiwari, if I may bring you in at this moment, we keep talking about this X factor, the plus 5% factor that usually Modi brings in every constituency. And we heard just a live example of that. Most of them not talking about the BJP, only talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi, admitting that there are issues, but the name of the Prime Minister is enough for them to repose their faith in the BJP once again. They are voting for Prime Minister Narendra Modi more than they are voting for the BJP.
Yeah, so essentially, I mean, if you see, the Modi factor is fairly strong in the Hindi heartland. And you mentioned about the plus 5%. I would say out of the 50% average vote share which the BJP would have received or had received in 2019, most of the candidates would have got just 15% because of the Modi factor. So it's as high as 1/3, or was as high as 1/3 in 2019. So now, after the Ram Mandir inauguration, after the BJP has fulfilled one of its key promises, and after Narendra Modi remains on the top of the popularity charts, not only in India, even across the world, he is one of the few leaders who has a net positive rating even after 10 years of being in power. We have to see whether this factor has increased further. It seems, at least from the people on the ground in Ayodhya and the people whom the reporter has been speaking to, that the Modi factor, which we speak about, seems to be growing stronger, at least in UP, in the Hindi heartland. And this is a very key state for BJP because last time, because of the Mahagathbandhan, the BJP had lost 9 to 10 seats here. So if you see, it has 64 of 80 seats. And the potential upside of 16 seats in absolute numbers is perhaps not there in any state across India.
Okay.
So it could emerge as one of the states where BJP gets the maximum gain vis-a-vis 2019.
Yeah.
And that's why the focus of the BJP and the Prime Minister is fairly here.
Absolutely, Atif Adnis, and this also, the timing of it. Yes, the colleague who was speaking to the reporters there, to the people there, Ayodhya, in a way, after the Ram Temple consecration ceremony, after the Ram Temple, in fact, becoming a reality, we need to also, understand that these are hardcore BJP supporters, those who are, at that moment speaking. But Atif Adnis, timing of this, going to Ayodhya, while the BJP in election campaigns and rallies, their leaders keep saying that, look, the Congress did not even go for the consecration ceremony. They were not there when the temple and the, in fact, statue was unveiled of Lord Ram. And then, of course, all these allegations which the opposition is leveling against the Prime Minister and the BJP of polarizing the campaign, just ahead of the third phase of elections. How important is it as messaging for the BJP?
Well, the Prime Minister going to Ayodhya is no surprise. It's true that the BJP is already in quite a strong and firm position in UP. So what the Prime Minister's Ayodhya trips will mean will only add to the population which is already pro-BJP. All the people that your correspondent has spoken to have conflated BJP with Ayodhya, have conflated Ram. Some of them have conflated Ram with the Prime Minister and so on. So I'm saying there's no additional accretion of votes. These are already strong BJP supporters anyway. What is important is we have to listen to what the Prime Minister says, because his MP, the sitting MP from Ayodhya, had let off a kind of a firecracker in one of his speeches, which was videographed and shown everywhere in UP, about the whole reservation issue. Dalits are becoming increasingly fearful all over India, and wherever I have been to, there is palpable apprehension among Dalits that if the BJP gets too large a number in the Lok Sabha, they will change the constitution. Both the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, and multiple other leaders have debunked this and have tried to clarify that they will not change the constitution. But this problem remains. And if the PM makes a speech here, we have to listen to him and see what he says in that speech, because the person who made that speech in the first place is standing right next to him.
Actually, the Prime Minister doesn't seem that will be making a speech here after this roadshow. He's expected to return back. But Amitabh Tiwari, I want to bring you in on this because, there is also this, what Aditi is saying has some, some sort of, a lot of people are talking about that as well, that the whole Ram Temple issue and finds the core BJP voter enthused. What is the percentage of voter? Unlike what happened in 2019 with Pulwama, which had the pan-nationalism, the patriotic fervor coming in, which gets largely a bigger voter base than the only Hindutva base. And we have seen that change of shift and the change of language in the campaign also after the first phase, as far as the BJP is concerned, going back to to more of a Hindutva kind of agenda. How much of an incremental voter can the BJP expect, when people on the ground in villages are also talking about rural unemployment, they are talking about, inflation and so many other things, can the BJP expect with only the Ram temple and of course, this kind of signaling which is going on at this moment?
So essentially, see, if BJP has to win this election, it needs to maintain what it got in 2019. That's also a tough task, but even if there is no addition to vote share and no addition to seat tally, it could still cross the halfway mark if it is able to hold on to what it had got. Now, of the BJP's vote share, almost of 38%, 37, 38%, two-thirds of the party's vote share, which is almost 26%, is the core, you can say, ideological vote, which is the Hindutva vote or the Ram Mandir vote, the UCC vote, etc., etc. Correct?
Right.
So that's the core. Now that remains with the BJP irrespective. However, the lower turnout in phase 1 and 2, because it is very difficult to quantify as to whose voter has not turned up.
True.
It seems that the party did not want to take anything to risk or anything on, did not want to leave anything to chance, and perhaps felt that it is very necessary to charge the core. And that's why we saw statements of Prime Minister Modi and now this visit again. Correct. So this is largely to charge the core. Now you have almost one-third of the vote, which is 12%, is the Modi factor vote,
Yes.
which he brings onto the table, which is not the core vote. And the party hopes that with this fine balance between core and non-core. So for the non-core, it is nationalism, it is stock markets going up, investments, etc., etc., and his popularity and the Tina factor also to a large extent, or the gap between which Narendra Modi enjoys vis-a-vis Rahul Gandhi. So the party hopes that these are the factors which will enable it to meander through these twin challenges of price rise and
So
unemployment.
basically, with all these gestures, with visit to Ayodhya, Ram Temple, Modi's roadshow, they are hoping to charge their core voter, even if they don't add anything there. And then, of course, the Narendra Modi factor, his governance, the Labharti, the women voter, and of course, there are the fence sitters. That is what the BJP would be hoping to attract and get by as far as this election is concerned. But Aditi Patnis, the fact is that the low voting percentage that we have seen in phase 1 and phase 2, the 9 seats of UP, if I specifically talked about them, which are going to polls in the third phase, all of them were won by the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2019. Does it seem that this lack of interest which people are talking about, hawa nahi hai, there is no wave kind of election that people are talking about, it still is advantage Bharatiya Janata Party, it more or less is status quo, because there is no urgent dire need that we see in people both either against the party to throw them out of the government or for the government as well?
That is what we have seen on the ground, that there is, among certain sections, there is a strong affection and regard for Modi and the BJP. But among others, there is also a sense that, we cannot dislodge this combination. So you have to make the best of what you have. In both cases, as you are right, that kind of wave, the fervor, the frenzy that we saw in 2014 and to a lesser degree in 2019 is not there this time. But at the same time, anything in that kind of a situation, anything can derail the election. And the Dalit vote in this context is extremely important.
Maria Shakil,
we have to now see.
Maria Shakil, my colleague, is also joining us on the phone line on this. Maria, we were just discussing the timing of this road show and the Prime Minister's visit to Ayodhya. Those visuals being playing out on every screen, the Prime Minister praying in front of Lord Ram. What is the messaging? What is the BJP at this moment trying to, in fact, portray just ahead of the third phase of election? where the campaign, the accusation of the opposition is that the BJP is polarizing the campaign in more than one ways?
Look, BJP is a cadre-based party, and the jury is still out whether, the overall voter percentage going down in the first two phases has impacted the ruling government, or it has, gone against the opposition. So, that aside, this is Prime Minister's first visit after the consecration ceremony in the month of January. That was on 22nd of January. So this is that entire messaging, as you said rightly. Look, Ankit, the elections, if you look at the narrative setting which has been happening over the last few, weeks, I would say that there is this concern that did the consecration ceremony happen too soon? In the sense that the euphoria which was there around the Ram temple and the BJP having achieved one of its promises since its inception in 1980, that was something which is no longer there. That euphoria is not there. But is there an anger against Prime Minister Modi? No. He remains a popular Prime Minister? Yes. Is there a Tina factor that there is no alternative but Prime Minister Modi? Yes. Are there issues changing from state to state? Yes. So in the state of Maharashtra, it's a different issue. In other states, it's a different issue on which people are voting. So the BJP senses this certainly. They are looking at various issues, and this is also coming ahead of Prime Minister Modi's own nomination, which has to be filed before the 14th. Remember, Varanasi goes to polls in the last phase on 1st of June. So I think this is more of a visit of thanking Lord Ram, and thereafter, going ahead with the rest of the journey. But because it's coming just ahead of the third phase of elections, and the elections are now moving towards the central UP, and will be moving ahead to the eastern Uttar Pradesh. The state of Uttar Pradesh remains very, very crucial for the BJP because of 80 seats. In 2019, the party's overall numbers did go down. They are hoping to better their tallies this time around.
Right, and also with the events like these, as Maria was saying, it's a cadre-based party. The focus then goes back to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and that is what the BJP would be hoping for. All the eyes, all the focus, all the spotlight on Prime Minister, rather than local issues that possibly in what we saw in phase one, where local issues were in fact dominating the discourse as far as the elections and various Lok Sabha constituencies are concerned. Let me bring in my colleague Tanish Punjabi once again. Tanish, just you are in Ayodhya. Just once again, take our viewers through what is happening around you.
Well, Ankit, I have some people with me who have come from Raipur, but before that, I would like to, you were mentioning about the X Factor Modi. That definitely matters, in the minds of public. But if we talk specifically about Uttar Pradesh, with Modi, it is also the Yogi factor. So the Modi-Yogi Jodi comes a lot in play when we talk specifically about Uttar Pradesh. It definitely comes in the voters' mind, and after that there is of course the double engine narrative that the BJP plays, the double engine slogan that the BJP plays. But I'm outside a tea shop here. You can see, of course, there are people here. But I'll try to speak to some of them. Sir, आपका नाम?
शिव कुमार, अयोध्या वासी।
आप अयोध्या वासी हैं?
जी हाँ, मैं अयोध्या वासी। आप लोग?
हम लोग रायपुर से हैं, छत्तीसगढ़।
आप
लोग रायपुर से यहाँ पे इधर आए हैं जी। तो मैं पहले आप लोगों से पूछूंगा, आपको अयोध्या कैसी लगी?
बहुत ही सुंदर।
बहुत सुंदर लगी।
हाँ।
लेकिन 2024 के चुनाव आ रहे हैं, आपको क्या लग रहा है कि क्या मुद्दे होंगे लोगों के वोट करने से पहले? आपके क्या मुद्दे होंगे? रायपुर से हो आप?
जो राम को लाए हैं हम उनको लाएंगे।
राम मंदिर मतलब आपके लिए मुद्दा है? क्या राम मंदिर के अलावा महंगाई, बेरोजगारी, ये सब भी मुद्दा होना चाहिए?
नहीं, देखिए जी, वो मुद्दे जो हैं ऐसे कोई विशेष मुद्दे नहीं है। वो हमें
महंगाई, बेरोजगारी विशेष
मुद्दे नहीं है, वो तो ऐसे चलते रहेंगे। और जो ओवरऑल हम जो डेवलपमेंट देख रहे हैं देश में, वो सराहनीय।
आप क्या करते हैं?
हमारा बिजनेस
है। लेकिन उनके लिए तो मुद्दे होंगे ना, जो शायद सड़क पे रिक्शा चला रहे हैं, या उनके लिए भी वो मुद्दे हो सकते हैं। खैर, हम लोग और आप अयोध्या वासी हैं, आपने कितनी अयोध्या बदली?
हम लोगों ने अयोध्या का वो दौर देखा है जब बिजनेस यहाँ बिल्कुल जीरो था। जाड़े के मौसम में जो दुकानदार यहाँ के थे
वो 2 पैसे भी अगर कलेक्ट कर पाए तो बड़ा मुश्किल था, क्योंकि वो पूंजी खाते थे।
ये बात सच्चाई है। अयोध्या का इकोनॉमिक
आज खूब डेवलप है, खूब डेवलप है। आने वाला समय भी मुझे लग रहा है कि आगे और डेवलप करेगा। हम लोग खुश हैं मोदी जी से, अच्छी तरीके से।
राइट।
मोदी योगी जोड़ी कितनी मैटर करती है?
बहुत बेस्ट है, बहुत ही बेस्ट है, बहुत ही बेस्ट है। हम लोग को तो योगी से भी कभी कभी ऐसा संपर्क हो पाया है, हालांकि मैं नेतागिरी नहीं करता हूँ, मैं साधारण इंसान हूँ, लेकिन एक फिर भी
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. So of course, you know, people here, we must also not forget that of course this is we are right now in Ayodhya, and there's of course a lot of fan following to quote unquote fan following of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And
and Tanish, this is also happening at a time when there is already the Prime Minister in Ayodhya. Of course, the BJP's roadshow in Ayodhya taking place. So that whole sense of euphoria around the Prime Minister, around Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister, is very, very visible. This is the stronghold, and the Bharatiya Janata Party would be hoping to encash, bring back the spotlight on the Prime Minister for the next phases of election. Tanish, thank you for joining me. Quick break at this moment. Thanks to all our guests also for being with us. We are coming back live to this roadshow of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Ayodhya.